You know what else is good for you, Moss?
Yeah.
Doing your revisions.
Education.
So I will tell you, guys, getting a mastery in my class is pretty tough because math is one of those things where you learn more by looking at your mistakes and identifying what went wrong. Put it away because that's probably going to be too distracting. As opposed to just getting it back and saying, oh, I got a B, oh, I got a C, whatever, right? And moving on with life. So, like, to get a mastery, you pretty much have to have done everything perfectly. So getting a progressing is not a bad thing. Pretty much everyone got a progressing. What that means is I want you to go back and look at the mistakes we made, or if you weren't quite finished with your test yet, you might have gotten like an NF/P, meaning like not finished / progressing. So if you need to finish it, that's obviously an option. I do have an alternative progressing to mastery assignment. So if you don't want to fix your test, or you think it's too difficult, or you just want like something different to start, like fresh, it's a bit bigger than probably what corrections you have to do. But this is an alternative way to go from progressing to mastery. Or if you lose your test, I'm going to hand you one of these, because if you lose your test, there's no there's no going back. So right now, if I was you, I would grab graph paper. If you have a progressing and need to do revisions, I would label it with like chapter 2 mastery corrections, and I would put those things in your binder so that they are safe. If it's totally mastered, it can go back in the drawer, or you can keep it in your binder for now. Drawer of kindness.
I don't know. I'm saying random stuff right now.
What's your idea, Alex?
So,
You got 30 seconds.
okay, so what we do is that like every Friday we'd have like a class auction, but like what we do is we get like tickets from like doing stuff around the room, or like just doing basically what we're supposed to do, since we all have like a little bit of a problem with that.
So you're talking about getting rewarded for doing what you're supposed to do.
Also doing stuff that like you ask us to. So like if you're just like, hey, you should pick this up, or hey, clean this up, and then like I don't know, I saw like.
I don't dislike your idea, but I don't know that I want it to be like for doing things, because then it feels like I'm trying to employ a bunch of minions. Like, I see that very quickly getting to a minion type situation. Maybe like homework bucks or something like that. Like I have a friend who like all the kids get X amount of money at the beginning of the quarter, and then every time an assignment is late or something, they have to like give up like a homework dollar or something. Talk to me later. We got to do class today, but I mean, not a bad idea, but it needs flushed out. I forget what the phrase is, but it needs cleaned up, right? Like we need to like figure out the needs ironed out. Needs ironed out. The kinks need ironed out. Rob.
I think this class is haunted.
This class is haunted. I think my smart board was haunted.
I had 12 pieces of candy. There are 10 pieces of candy.
Is it haunted or is it your
A ghost
teammate?
stole it.
I didn't take.
It might have been me.
I mean, you did take candy from my sack yesterday.
All right, moving on from candy. Hey, we can only have candy in here if it's not an issue. So moving on from candy, real quick, let's review. Real quick, this is not on your paper.
Oh, so is it on this piece of graph paper from yesterday?
I mean, no, because we didn't do this yesterday.
Okay.
We're just going to review. So real quick review, if I write down this, can anyone volunteer to talk me through what the answer is going to be and why? Ivan? Why?
7-11.
7 times 11. Negative 7 times negative 11. Will just turn into a positive.
Yeah, because a negative times a negative turns into a positive. Or if I look right here and I do like negative 11, like a debt of 11, like I owe somebody $11 7 times, but then we do the opposite of that, it becomes positive, right? So negative times a negative, or the opposite of a positive times a negative. Either way, it becomes positive. All right, diving into 524, or 324. Sorry, we're not quite ready for chapter 5 yet. Anyone want to read? We got a big old paragraph here that needs read. Alex, can you see it from there?
Yes. Just like a decade. Just like a decade. Is another word for 10 years. A decimal 6,000, etc. Because our entire number system is based on 10 decimals are very important and they are everywhere. Much of math you see in a class or science class use decimals. Of course, you also use them whenever you work with money. Today, you'll be working with decimals using what you know about fractions to make sense of standard algorithms for multiplying decimals as you work with your team. Keep these questions in mind. How are these decimals like fractions? What does place value have to do with our answer? And how does our answer make sense?
Nice. Thank you very much, Alex. So we have this situation on our paper. I want you to take a moment, read this on your paper, underline, highlight, do whatever you want to do on your resource page right in front of you. Highlight the important stuff.
It's on the front of examples from class 3 to 4. You should have got it yesterday.
And you already started correct, right? Like you already started. Hey, so the thing I forgot to say about test corrections, how do you do, well, I said it last time, how do you do test corrections? Nate? Separate piece of paper, and where does that piece of paper go?
You staple it to the front.
Staple it to the front. Okay, so obviously we know how to do that. If you have any questions, come see me. But all right, Howard went to the mall and saw a banner announcing all sporting goods 1/10 off. Yes, because that's what the mall banner would say. 1/10 off.
That makes no sense.
So I'm going to highlight that because I bet that's important. So if I was you, I'd have that highlighted on your paper. And he saw a pair of rollerblade laces for only 40 cents, but wanted to find out how much he would save. Right, so I mean, they're rollerblade laces, right, like the strings. So not very expensive. But Howard wants to figure out how much he's going to save. Talk with your teammate about how much Howard's going to save.
Aren't rollerblade laces just shoelaces? But the thick and round. Okay.
On one of your hundredths grids, go ahead and shade 1/10 of it. So on one of your hundredths grids, shade 1/10 of it.
Wait, that doesn't look like.
Oh, highlighter. That's so smart. You could also just highlight 1/10 of it.
That's true.
You guys are smarter than me. Yes.
Your big brain.
For what, Mark? Oh, to make it sound bigger. Yeah, use the equivalent fraction. I love it. So, hey, Keegan just brought up a really good point. He said, so it'd be better marketing. I just want to talk about this because I love what Keegan said. So they said 1/10 off. Keegan, do you want to say what you said?
I think it would be better marketing for them to do 100 of 1,000
So Keegan thinks their sign should say 100 1,000ths off. Would that still be true? Well, how do I go from 1 to 100? Times 100. Does times 100 happen here also? So their sign could also say 100 1,000ths. Now, there was actually a fraction between here that would have had betwixt. That would have had 100 on the bottom. What does 1/10 equal when we think about it as hundredths, Christian?
10.
10. Right, so what that really means, and if we look at our hundredths grid, 1/10, and guys, we're going to write this on our paper. 1/10, where did my pen go? There it is.
Just like 1%. I know the answer.
If you
Ooh, careful, it's not 1%.
Did you use anything?
1/10,
It's the ghost.
Raphael, it's right here. 1/10 equals 10 over 100, which, yeah, thank you, Gabe, which means that equals 10%.
You would say 4 cents.
Yeah, so to find 10% or a tenth, since we know 10% is the same as a tenth, Gabe, how'd you find your 4 cents?
I did 40 divided by 10.
Yeah, so Gabe said, well, if I want 1/10, I can take my 40 cents, divide that by 10, and his 10% off in this case would be 4 cents. Now wait, we do care about the money off, but we're gonna have to pay the money on.
Huh?
So
Something.
hold on just a second.
The
Raphael.
money on.
So hold on. If it's 10% off, what I also want you to write and show is that means what percent is on? What percent is on? 90. The rest of it, right? Raphael, what's up?
You can also say 1/10 by all. You can also say instead of 1/10, 0.5. 0.5 out of 5.
Yeah, because that would be equivalent to a tenth also.
I'm smart.
You are, dude.
I feel like there
All right, so
is-
if you want to highlight your percent on, sorry, Moss, what was that?
I feel like they could market this a little bit better. Like if you go like 10 100ths off, I feel like someone would like not go because like
It's meant to be.
a math
Oh,
problem.
that
I
is-
know, but
All right, so look at 65. Grab a highlighter and highlight what's important there. All right, so we're going to actually set up the next hundredths grid a tiny bit differently.
yeah.
We're going to first show the weight of the shoes. So I'm hoping that maybe you highlighted 0.8 kilograms and maybe 70% as much.
Wait.
Wait. So the first thing we're going to do is do 8 of these. Actually, let's use this hundredths grid out here to the right so we can label it. First thing we're going to do is 0.8 kilograms. Oh, I should move that back.
How much is a kilogram? Because 0.8 kilograms. 0.8
Kilo means 1,000. So a kilogram is 1,000 grams.
You for a second I thought you were saying kill.
So 0.8 kilograms. Let's highlight that in one color. I'm just going to do pink. So this is his old shoes. His old shoes.
Just when you think about it, because like 0.8 sounds very small, but it is a shoe. So.
And guys, have that highlighted the same color as what you did to highlight the 0.8. And if you didn't, that's okay, but that's just my advice for making things make sense. the color I used here to highlight, I took up here, and I could label that old shoes.
Old shoes.
They probably smell.
Ew.
I mean, come on.
Now
Just
I'm-
being honest.
Now I'm thinking of sneaky shoes.
The new shoes are only actually 70% as heavy as the old ones.
Oh no. Okay.
So, hey, look up here real quick. Look up here. Stop shading for a moment. I'll give you more time, but look up at the board. This pink highlighted area is 100% of the old shoes. It is the old pair of shoes. To highlight 70% of them, I'm going to look at this side and do 70% of all of my rows across. Well, how many rows across do I have?
8.
Well, so I've got 8 columns.
Oh,
How many rows? We have 10 rows, right? So to do 70%, we want to only highlight 7 of them. So this is going to be our 70%. So the new shoes are 70% of the old shoes. But how we could write this work out. 70%. And guys, this is why we've been doing so much with the fraction, decimal, percent conversion stuff. 70%. What does percent mean? Per 100. How could I write it as a decimal though? 0.70 times 0.8 kilograms. And guys, when you're done coloring, or shading, I should say. Coloring sounds kind of childish. When you're done shading, well, I mean, yeah, I'm a big kid at heart too. The new shoes, we just do this math. Guys, what's 8 times 7? 56, right? Like, you know that. So don't stress about the decimals. Just do 8 times 7, and then ask yourself about the decimals. Well, the places that matter are 1 decimal place here, 1 decimal place there, because I didn't actually use 70. I just used 7. So it's going to be 0.56 kilograms. So guys, this is where we're switching, and this is maybe when I'm going to be able to convince you that fractions are better. Watch this. Like, take a pause with what you're doing. Watch what I could do instead. 0.7, right, is accurately said 7/10. 0.8, how do I accurately say that? 8/10. What's 7 times 8? 56. What's 10 times 10? 100. 56 hundredths. Oh, look. There's my answer. So, whether you like fractions better or decimals better, we're now switching over to practicing with decimals. So, guys, if you want to underline decimal there, that is what breaks everything into tenths, hundredths, thousandths, right? Every division of 10. And you can keep going forever, right?
That was very complicated.
I mean, that's kind of what's fun about it. I mean, like, the best board games are the best, like, I mean, things that are simple aren't normally that fun. All right, so guys, I know I'm, like, very much just using the dot camera today, but I would like you out here to write out 2.3. And we're going to use parentheses to show multiplication. Can anyone remember why I said sometimes parentheses are better than using a dot for multiplication? Ooh, Misk? Yeah, the multiplication dot might look like a decimal. So what? So 2.3, anyone guess what other number we're multiplying by here? 1.4. You guys are so smart. So, the reason you accidentally said that, Gabe, was they showed the 0 here because what they did was they said, well, 2.3, let's break it apart. Like how we said sometimes breaking up is better. So 2 and 3/10 times 1 and 4/10, right? We just break the numbers up, but this gets so much easier. And now I'll do it on the smartboard because it's probably better to do on the smartboard.
Did you say easier?
I said
No.
Gotta pay attention to the there, Rob. All right, you guys try this. Try to fill in the box, like each of the individual boxes. June, what's your question?
Why don't we just use the original multiplication symbol?
So, like, why are we using parentheses instead?
Big grown up.
Like
Be-
parentheses and then dot.
So we could put the dot, like, between them. That would totally be fine. But by having the parentheses, it kind of indicates we're multiplying, and this is not a decimal.
No, like the like X.
Oh! Because now we're deep enough in math that x starts to become a variable we use. And so, honestly, I would like to go back to every elementary teacher and, like, rip out of their book where it says use x to multiply. And instead, I'll, like, glue in a little paper that says use the dot. Or actually, we'll rip that out and say just use parentheses. Just forever, just start with parentheses. I want to go back and reteach everyone. Now, unfortunately, I can't. Right? Time travel doesn't exist. I'm not going to rip up textbooks. So it's my job to reteach you. Like, unteach you and reteach you.
It actually does.
Because that time we told a kid to come back.
In the future, we have children, and then the children forget that we told them to visit you back in time. So, yeah, there's my point.
Remember, it was
If-
October 10th that happened.
Remember, okay, so I don't know if we've not made this deal in this class. So let's all make a deal. Right?
already have it.
Pinky's up. We'll do air pinky promise. If you figure out time travel, come back to this classroom on November 2nd at 10:40 a.m.
Stop! You don't understand. Time travel's horrible. You go back and change.
Yeah, and if they see their self,
Yeah.
Have you read the Butterfly, or is it, what's the
Yeah.
book about, Butterfly Effect?
I think.
All right, so refocusing. God, you guys are so good at
One
distracting me.
butterfly club.
Alex, really quick, then we're focusing.
I know what you're talking
So basically, they figured out cloning, so they can take a sample of your DNA, make you a baby again, and then make you live off, and then like just take it out and then glue it back in.
Okay, that is some freaky stuff right there. Hey, friends, take a moment. We had our moment of distractedness. Take a moment. What goes into each of these boxes is just like playing Battleship.
I love
It's
that.
the product of the pieces at the dimensions, right? I'm just trying to copy this over so I have a bigger one to do on the smartboard because I forgot to copy a bigger version. Yeah. It's not a blank page, but I need a blank page.
I don't know the book you're talking about, but I did know like the butterfly effect.
I was gonna say something, but I forgot what I was gonna say.
Answer.
All right, let's do this together to make sure we have the right decimal places. Hey, we're gonna go anybody answers on this. Okay, so just shout them out. 2
Two.
times 1.
Two.
That one is a 2. 1 times 0.3.
0.3.
2 times 0.4.
0.8.
Okay, so I got the
Or
right
we could say it right and say 8/10, right, if we want to. Careful here. 3/10 times 4/10. It's 0.12. Guys,
I got the
With
wrong
me.
answer.
hey, I would probably do this out to the right on your paper. I would make a little note about this box being 4/10 times 3/10, which is why it is 12 hundredths. Now the other trick when we're decimal multiplying, and you guys know I don't really like tricks, but how many decimal places are here?
One.
1. How many decimal places are there?
One.
1.
Yeah.
So 1 plus 1, how many decimal places?
2 back.
2. and that's how many we use. Or think about the fractions and double check your math that way. Questions on the broken up rectangle? Bless you, Miss. Question? Oh, so then how do we get the answer, Addie? So now to get the answer, we add them all up.
Hey, that's a cool
And when you do
one.
that, what'd you get? 3.22?
Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
because the 0.8 and the 0.3, that'll make a 1.1. So yeah, 3.22. Questions?
2, 2, 3, 3.
Try.
What time does this class end?
Wow.
You really want to leave?
No, I just
Ouch.
no.
Jeez,
Ready
June.
to leave, bro. No,
I have
just
Mariah
wanted-
Carey stuck in my head.
No,
because
I
Vivian
just
told
want
me
to
she
get
was
this
doing
out.
graph
It's
stuff
gonna get
for
out.
Christmas.
All right, graph paper. Hey, graph paper. We're going to practice a couple things. Oh, okay. It's barely November.
Well, okay, so June told me Mariah Carey was defrosting for Christmas,
She is.
and now it's stuck in my head.
Is it because the one meme?
That's not going to be a very tasty cake. If she's defrosting.
No, like
I like
her
my cake like
iceberg.
covered in
You
frosting.
get it like her iceberg. And
I was just trying to make it a bad play on words. We talked about the ghost teacher yesterday, right? What did the ghost teacher say?
Oh,
to
yeah, we'll go through it again.
Okay, well then fine. Why can't your nose be 12 inches long?
Because then it would be a foot.
Because then it would be a foot. Lily?
What period you have to be in?
What? This is so off topic.
Oh, trust me, it's
Yeah.
It's for a good cause.
It's very on
For a
topic.
good cause.
Yeah.
3A.
You just say sing happy birthday.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'll try to remember because that's gonna be a while now. With me. How many decimal places
One.
does
One.
You haven't even finished the answer. The question. How many decimal places does this answer need to have?
Three.
I don't even need to teach you guys anything, I guess.
It's in the
Yeah.
thousands.
That's true.
It's
One.
made of cheese.
Oh,
2, 3 total. So we know 1, 2, 3 total decimal places.
I like what you do with the underlining.
Thank you. Not my first rodeo, right?
Yeah.
So now, what's 3 times 16? Hey, hold up. Still with me.
18.
Still with me, because you're probably, maybe you're not trying too hard. Break this apart. Hey, if you're going to pass candy, you got to pass some to me.
Yeah.
What is 3 times 10?
30.
30.
30
Oh,
and
I'll
then
save it till later.
18.
What's 3 times 6?
18.
18. Now hold on. Put 30 and 18 together. What do you get?
48 and then
Is 48
But then-
gonna take up 3?
No.
So what do we do, Wendy? We gotta put a 0 in front of it, so our 48 actually takes up all 3 of those spaces.
I'm doing math.
Math is math. Yeah.
Questions on figuring out how many decimal places we need?
No.
Do you have a question? Okay,
Drain
that's
your brain.
just a statement. If you can figure, I'll come back and help with the next one.
Brain, your brain.
When your
Try
brain is
these.
draining.
Try these in your graph paper
Wait, didn't we
with your partners.
Yeah,
Practice
Moses.
how many decimal places does it need. Gabe doesn't have a
Needs
partner either.
4.
Donovan.
Uh,
Papa
6.
2. Graph paper.
5.
You didn't have graph
1.
paper. Oh, well, yeah, you were right about that.
Ah,
But
yeah.
that
Wait, no,
last
it
problem,
doesn't
we
mean
just
3,
got
it
graph
only
paper.
needs
You
2.
didn't write it
It's
down.
the last
That's probably why
word.
your brain is
I
not
said
brain.
that.
So I'm gonna go back and
You
write down
said
mine.
literally every number
So,
under
I
the
know my
sun.
handwriting won't be as nice as yours. 0.3 and 0.16. Alright, what we said is there's one decimal place here, two decimal places there, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So our answer, we're not moving 3 over, our answer will have to have 3
And then
decimal
we have the
places.
little 18
Because
that
that's what decimal multiplication is. The other way we can
There's a negative.
is
Three.
Wait, no, wait, could it C would just be 0.18.
right, which will come out if we do the fractional equation 48 thousandths.
I feel
So
a bit dumb right
when we multiply, we know we have to use all three decimal places. But if we only,
Why does
but if
everything
I
have to
only
be
write down
negative,
48, that doesn't use it.
Blue negative.
See,
Yeah.
look.
Now is your brain draining? Now brain on those.
C looks
See, math is
weird.
mathing.
Mathematics.
C looks a bit goofy.
Why?
Because it has the decimal or point or the times point.
Yeah, it looks a bit goofy.
Well, do you see my point?
And the negative.
Moss, the face you just made was the best.
What was the first one?
Do you get the joke? Do you see my point? But like the point that I've been making, but decimal point, like like a double on top. Play on.
Mr. Hudson, I'm dying to chat.
Don't worry, Miss Austin, I'm here all week. She's totally tuning me out. Like she's learned to just tune out Mr. Hudson. It is so good. All right, random cards. We got 5 minutes. Lily, how many decimal places will A need in the answer? That's all good. Gabe, how many decimal places will A need? 2, because one there and one there. What do you end up getting, Gabe? Yeah, and it works out when we do the multiplication. We just get 0.18 or 18 hundredths. Christian, what about B?
Come on.
You get 2 decimal places. Or,
2 decimal places.
and then you basically times 5 and 4 and get 20, and then yeah.
So 20 uses both places. Is there anything else different
Oh,
in
negative.
And the negative. Good call, Ivan. I saw that hand going up trying to catch him.
Wait, to see
Had to give Christian the chance to get it on his own, right? All right, and then in C, Nate, how many decimal places is it gonna need? 2, because one there and one there. And what number did you get? So yeah, 14 works out, and then hold on, you're trying to do too much at once. Negative times negative. What's a negative? Ah, this is gonna be positive.
Okay.
Question.
All that decimal
Could
negative.
you just see how many?
Moss.
Could you
Hey,
just
Moss.
you could just see how many decimal places there would be if you like see how many numbers that aren't 0 in the decimal.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And then Mr. Hudson.
Yep. That's what we'll do. You're repeating what I'm teaching, which I love,
Mr.
because
Hudson.
it means it's sinking in.
I like how you closed the game there.
Cheese.
Try 2.4 times 5.3 on your paper. I wouldn't trust this. So
They're
let's just
liars.
scroll past that. 2.4 times 5.3, except this 2.4 is negative.
Oh, it's a criminal.
That 2.4 is... Yeah, that multiplication dot's kind of annoying, right?
It is.
It might be better if I change these to parentheses
kill it with fire.
when I find a big spider in the house. So,
What you do is get a bomb
What?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
tie this
Blow up your whole house.
I followed Raphael in that.
alright, so hold on. For sake of time, I skipped over looking at, like, there's a mistake in what they did. 5.3. Right, I can break that up into, I guess I should use cards. Moss, what can I break 5.3 into?
You can break it into 5 and 0.3.
5 and 0.3. Let's all do this, like, kind of together, maybe.
I just got it.
What can I break negative 2.4 into? Raphael, you gonna help me? What can I break this up into?
You can break it up into 1.2.
Wait,
Ooh, that's if I divide it. You're right, but I actually want to split the whole part from the fraction for the
they
decimal
both
part.
be negatives?
So, do you want to try again, or you want to pass it off?
No, I'm stupid.
You are not. You want to try again?
Wait.
How many whole? Hold up, Raphael.
Moss, do it.
Raphael. Nope, Moss just went. Raphael. How much do we have in the whole place of this number? 2. How much do we have in the decimal place?
4.
There we go. You are not stupid, sir.
Would they both
I
be
have no
negative?
idea what I did.
Moss is like your brain is on.
I is.
This number is negative.
I is.
So if we break it up. You with me because you look like you're looking through the wall. It's a -2 and a -0.4. If we're gonna work this out using the rectangle, we gotta make both of those negative. So now do your multiplication. I can't do your multiplication. I'm not looking for volunteers. Do the multiplication.
Okay.
So is there a reason that you're fighting me on the method I'm trying to teach you? So at no point did I say stack the multiplication and do it the old way.
So it would be 10, but it would be
Try a little extra.
it wouldn't be positive. It would be negative.
I have a job.
It'd be negative 10 points.
If you fight that,
Did you get the answer?
I'm doing it.
when we take assessment,
You're asking.
in new styles,
You
you
don't
don't know
know
what to do
negative.
because you're fighting back. Right? Please quit fighting me. I want us to all get along. We're on the same team. I'm trying to teach you new methods that are important.
Plug in those important little symbols.
5 times -2.
Okay, that's negative 10.
-10. 0.3 or 3/10 times -2.
Negative 0.6.
-0.6.
I'd rather say 0.6.
5 times -0.4.
Negative
20. Negative 0.20.
Negative 0.2.
Guys, how many decimal places will this use? Just one. So this is going to be -2.0 because like we got 20.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
Because 4 times 5 got 20. Right? But it's not actually 20, it's 2.0.
My brain did one dumb.
Now that was the trap door. That was the trap door in this problem. And then over here, 0.3 times 0.4, -0.12, because 2 decimal places, 1 from there, 2 total. And then we put it all together.
Would be
But we're out of time, so clip your stuff in your binder. Revisions get turned in as soon as you can. Homework due on Friday, right? We're collecting 3 homeworks on Friday, just 3. We're collecting 1, 2, and 3. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3. Alright, so what sense when you try. That's all that matters.
maybe.
Math on Friday, up to you, but yes. The answer is yes. I don't care when you come. Oh yeah, the bin's right here. Sorry, friends.
The
right here.
bin. Get in the bin. Wait, where's my backpack?
Bye, Margot. Hope you feel better soon.